Frolo is the app that several thousand single parents say has been life-changing for them in the most profound way. If you're a single parent and want to connect with other single parents and open yourself up to an amazing support network and new experiences, then the Frolo app is the one for you. The Frolo app has two modes: community mode for meetups and holidays, guidance and support, chats, and discovery to make it easy to find like-minded local single parents near you. Dating mode is a mindful, safe, and respectful dating offering where everybody is there to date another single parent. All users on Frolo are verified, putting our user safety first always. The Frolo app is free to download and use, with the option to upgrade to premium for access to lots of additional premium features for an elevated experience, which makes it easier than ever to access the incredible connections and experiences you're looking for. To download Frolo, search for Frolo, Frolo, on the App or Google Play Store, or go to www.frolo.com for more info. We can't wait to see you on the app soon.
You're listening to the Frolo podcast. I'm Zoe, the founder of Frolo, a social networking app and community for single parents that's launching soon. On the Frolo podcast series, I will be talking to single parents, or Frolos, about their stories and experiences. I will also be chatting to a range of experts who will be able to share valuable guidance related to single parent life. Today, I am joined by the founder of Mothers Meeting and the visionary and force to be reckoned with, that is Jenny Scott. Jenny has two children, Sunny and Jasmine with her ex, and baby Sky with her partner Joe. Jenny, thank you so much for joining me today. I know that you are so busy and pulled in a million different directions. So thank you for letting me pester you, and thanks for caving in.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so glad I made it.
Oh, I'm so glad you made it too.
The universe brought me to you.
Yes, I think so. First of all, Mothers Meeting is such an unbelievable, it's such an unbelievable kind of network and community that you've created. So for anyone who might not be aware of Mothers Meeting, how would you describe Mothers Meeting?
Well, considering I've done it now for like 8 years, you'd think I would have this on lockdown. But unfortunately, I don't. And I think the reason for that is because it's constantly growing and it's constantly evolving. I started it 8 years ago when I had Sunny. There was no Insta mum. There was no Instagram, really. There was just good old Facebook. And I was just a bit lonely, felt, all the overwhelming feelings of a new mum. And I was just like, where's all those women that, were into cool stuff before they were mums, and they used to listen to music and like art galleries and do all those different things that they did before they become mums, because everything was kind of bunting and cupcakes and, all the classic cliches of motherhood. And I just wanted to listen to some garage tunes, have a dance with the baby, and go to a few art galleries and be inspired and do all the things that I would do before becoming a mum.
Yeah.
So basically, I found a art exhibition that I wanted to go to. And being a graphic designer myself, I designed a poster basically to go to the art exhibition with myself. But because I put a logo on it and made it look all professional, it looked like there was a big event happening, when actually it was just me going for a little stroll around the gallery. And one lady came.
Wow.
And I went home a happy mum, had something to talk to my partner about, used a few brain cells. I'd cleaned my trainers before I went, washed my hair, got all that dry shampoo out. So it was basically me going along to something that I wanted to go along to. And because I put it out there, made it public, I was accountable for it, so I had to turn up. Whereas if I hadn't made that poster, I would have stayed at home watching Jeremy Kyle.
Yeah. And so then it just
and so then after that, I was anything that I'd go to, I'd book a table for 10 people at Soho House where I was a member.
Yeah.
And I'd make a poster for it. 10 people would turn up, and then I'd book a bigger table for next month, and then 20 people would turn up, and it just grew really organically, and it grew from the fact that I wanted to meet like-minded mums, and I found that there was other women in the same position as myself. And yeah, it grew and grew and grew, and I didn't really know what it was back then. And it's basically a platform, a network, a community of women. And it's growing day by day, and it's evolving into like this bigger thing. And yeah, I just want to support, inspire and motivate women that happen to be mums.
You definitely do that. Yeah, it's such an amazing community. So my friend Sarah Beatty is the one who kept saying to me, you have to go to Mother's Meeting, you have to go to Mother's Meeting, you have to, my friend Jenny runs a da-da-da. And yeah, so I've been going whenever I can now for a couple of years, but it's amazing what you've created, and it's all of the exactly like that kind of moms who still have their own sense of self, or who still want to be themselves and not just I'm a mom now and that's what I do. And just the kind of opportunity to connect with like-minded people, to learn from people, to kind of build your network, it's really powerful what you've created. And so many people have, I think, benefited from it.
I think it's kind of it's like a launch pad in a way.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like a headmistress, and when the new mums come, it's kind of like they come for the first time and they're really nervous, like their first day at school, and then they meet someone, and then the more they come, the more they connect with different people, and then obviously they connect online. So then they feel more familiar when they come next time because they've spoken, chatted to people on Instagram and Facebook. And yeah, it's just amazing. And then they become so busy with their business ideas and with their friendship groups that they no longer have to come.
Yeah.
Like people like Tiba and Marl and all sorts of businesses that have come, and they've stayed really loyal to Mother's Meeting, and they'll often come and talk as guest speakers. And yeah, it's amazing. And I think what's made it so successful is because I am a natural people put togetherer.
Yeah.
Like I love connecting people. I can walk into a room and I'll sense, who will get on with who.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, I'll come up with some common ground conversation starter, and I'll just walk away.
Yeah.
And so that walking away, seeing two women speaking to each other just makes me so happy. And so I'm always going to be a mum.
Yeah.
And I'm always going to love connecting people. So Mother's Meeting does come really naturally to me.
Yeah. And I think it's amazing because there are a lot of, I guess, high profile people now that are associated with Mother's Meeting and kind of influencery type of people and that. But you make such a point of, making sure that it doesn't feel cliquey, or that it doesn't feel, that people don't feel intimidated or anything like that. You make a point of kind of making sure that it's just everyone, should talk to everyone, and everyone should feel, and so it's nice. There is a lovely dynamic that you kind of create with it.
I think that the world's gone mental, like the whole Instagram world, the whole influencer world, and I think there's such a hierarchy of people now.
Yeah.
And it's bonkers, and I think it's just not a very nice place.
Yeah.
And it can make people just feel really awful about themselves. So I think making sure that everybody's on a neutral platform is so important.
Totally.
Like there's obviously people out there that have worked really hard at creating their online presence and becoming influencers, and they deserve, the credit that they get. But also, I just think no matter how famous, how big you are, you should always keep your feet on the ground.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's probably like a huge part of the reason why people keep coming back to Mother's Meeting, because if I had gone there in the first event and been like, oh my God, everyone knows each other and everyone looks really cool and everyone is like doing, important stuff on Instagram or something like this, I just wouldn't have gone back.
Yeah.
But you kind of put everyone at ease and disarm everyone and kind of take that.
I think I always make a joke about things.
Yeah.
And I think I dumb down a lot of things.
Yeah.
Which sometimes makes me come across like I'm a bit stupid, but also makes people feel relaxed. So it's worth sort of sacrificing my intelligence or how I come across to be a bit stupid just to make everybody smile.
For the greater good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so how has it helped you? What would you say, it's helped so many other people, obviously, but how has it helped you personally, creating Mothers Meeting?
Well, it's like my baby. It's been, I've been able to turn it into a job, which is amazing. And being able to have a job and be able to be there for my kids whenever I needed to be there. And be there when they were babies every day and be there when the school calls is the one main thing that's kept me doing Mothers Meeting, as well as obviously my passion for bringing women together.
Yeah.
But also having 3 children, knowing that there's women out there that I, on tap that I can speak to.
Yeah.
And being able to be honest. When I launched my book back in 5 years ago, I talked about, there's a lot of people talking about mental illness now, but back then I was sort of one of the first to be I took antidepressants. And when I meet mums that come to Mothers Meeting for the first time, and I'm like, how are you doing? They're like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm like, not really, are you? You've got a 4-week-old baby.
Yeah.
You're really fine. And it's all right to say that you're not.
Yeah.
And I make a point of, telling everybody that it's not easy and it is the hardest thing, and you don't have to pretend when you're in a Mothers Meeting that you're fine.
Yeah, and that's so true. I remember, I'm sure a lot of moms, it does kind of hit you in the face, doesn't it? We were just talking about it before recording, just becoming a new mom.
I think if it doesn't hit you like a lot of people who expect it to be really hard, I think the first 6 months is quite easy for them because they're expecting this massive, immediate life change where it just kind of creeps up on you.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you realise that this is it now.
Yeah.
This is completely different. And I think the women that struggle is the women that keep looking back on what their lives used to be like.
Yeah.
And sort of they have one foot in this old life. I'm going to get back to that old life as soon as this baby turns 1 or, but you never do because you change and you evolve as a woman.
Yeah.
And you just got to jump into motherhood with 2 feet, I think, and just embrace it and just look at the opportunities that it offers you.
Yeah. And how do you juggle it? How do you balance it all? Yeah. 3 kids, a business, a partner.
Well, I've honestly, the last couple of weeks I'm learning at the moment as well to stop worrying about things that you can't control. I worry about things a lot, like money, being able to afford, just bills and, all that normal stuff that nobody talks about. It's just that things like that are always on my mind. And I'm like, things work out. They always do. And I'm a big believer of the law of attraction. So if you think about things and you think, this is going to be fine, and you think positively, it does all work out.
Yeah.
So I think a big thing is to stop feeling anxious about things that you can't really control. And in terms of trying to do it all, I don't really do it all right now.
How do you, do you have a routine with the kids, or how do you
big routine with the children and everything. In terms of, I think, going to bed, Sky goes, the baby, at 6:30, Jasmine at 7:30, and then Sunny, who's 8, it takes the longest. But they're all in bed by 8:30.
Yeah.
And I think having that hour at the end of the night is just crucial.
Yeah.
And I think trying to manage it all is about not managing it, because you shouldn't take on too much, and it's being able to say no to things. I get, doing this interview now, I really wanted to do it with you because I think what you're doing is amazing.
Thank you.
But I say no to a lot of things because I think your mental health and feeling stressed and anxiety isn't worth anything.
Yeah.
Everyone's in a race to be popular and put themselves out there, and everyone's racing up this ladder to get somewhere, but I'm not really sure where everybody's aiming to get. Does everyone want to be famous? Really rich? And I just think whether you want to be rich, famous, any of those things, it's not worth being stressed about.
Yeah.
And I think what the lovely Junie Puny off Instagram, lovely girl who I've met, it said, what's meant for you won't pass you by. And I think that is so true. You can be in such a tither about, getting followers, getting famous, getting big, getting all these things. But is it really worth it?
Yeah. Yeah. And even on your, with you always say on your in the Mothers Meeting members group, which I'm in, which is amazing, and another aspect of Mothers Meeting that you created, but you often do videos and say, put your phone away, and it's Insta-free Thursday, and, and it's so that's, I know that's a really important kind of part of how you manage your, how you feel like we all need to manage our mental health and anxiety. And it's so true. Like yesterday, I just put my phone away for like 5 hours in the morning, and it's just amazing how much calmer you feel.
It is, and I think what the important messages that you need to get back to then rise to the top of your head.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They kind of surface.
Yeah.
And then you think, oh yeah, all the rest is just noise.
Yeah.
Like you can spend all day on your phone thinking you're being productive when actually you're not.
I know, and it's so addictive. And then suddenly you're just in this like habit of just like, you don't even know what you're looking at. You're just picking up your phone and opening something.
Yeah, and then you're having you're having 100 conversations all at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think the fact they do it, people at these big offices that are in charge of these social media apps, they do things so that you are constantly on your phone, so that people can see that you've read it and it says seen, so you have to reply, which causes massive anxiety all around, like WhatsApp, DMs, Facebook Messenger, all these accounts that you need to be on constantly, otherwise you come across really rude and you're ignoring people, and then they get anxiety thinking that you're ignoring them. So it's just this massive cycle of anxiety that we're living in. And it makes me so sad.
Yeah.
It makes me want to go and live on a farm.
Yeah.
With no Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Well, you've escaped to Broadstairs.
Yeah, so I'm by the sea now. So I'm getting closer.
You're getting closer. Yeah.
But they still got bloody Wi-Fi down there.
And so you have 3 kids, but you had 2 kids with your ex, and now you've got Sky, who's 1.5, with your partner Joe, and so I know that some of the Frolo community have sent in questions, and a lot of people wanted to know first of all, when did you break up with your ex, and how did the kids deal with that? How did you get through that? How did you deal with that?
I'm going to cry. No, I'm not. I'm going to stay strong. When was it? So Jasmine was just 8 months. It was quite a weird situation, to be honest, because we were actually living at my partner's mum's house at the time. So you can imagine when he went off with someone else and we were still at his mum's, and God. Jasmine was 8 months and Sonny was just 4, nearly 5. And I just found out that he'd been cheating on me. We was in Istanbul for his birthday. We came back and he just left, and he didn't move to another country. Like I still saw him because he still saw the kids. Yeah. But we didn't even talk about the situation. Nothing. Really? So it was just literally like a full stop, and that was it.
And so with no warning, did you
No, nothing.
Oh wow.
And so obviously I was at his mum's house, who's absolutely amazing. So in a way I don't really feel like that I was a single mum on my own, because I had Nicola, who was just there for me. Okay. But I still went through the whole thing of having to give the kids to him every other weekend. So you're not used to them not being with you, and then you all of a sudden you kind of got this whole weekend to yourself. Yeah. That was really hard, and just I cried for about a year, I think. Not a year, but a long time. Yeah,
the kind of dealing with the handing them over, and the kind of contrast of having them there versus then them being gone. I think it's
I think when you're a parent, you go through all this stuff, then all of a sudden it's you don't have time to recover. If you're single, or if you're in a relationship and you haven't got children, then you break up, you can spend all day in bed for weeks, can't you? Eating pizza, crying, doing whatever you want, not getting dressed. But when you've got children, you've just got to get your clothes on, you've got to be positive, and you've got to smile for them. Yeah. So in a way, it's kind of like a blessing and a curse. It's oh God, I've got to start today, but it makes you stronger. And they're kind of just not that distractions are good, but it's a kind of distraction from what is actually going on.
Yeah.
But so that was really difficult. But it's really weird now. When I look back on it all, it's weird how things work out for the best.
I know, it's so hard to see that sometimes.
It's
isn't
so
it? But
hard
like
to see that. But
you say, and what Junie Finney says, what's for you won't pass you by.
yeah.
And that's what.
And they're just obstacles. And, you know, it's just the world's setting you tasks and assignments to make you the person that you're meant to be.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I was single then for a while. I went on a couple of dates. I went on a date actually 2 weeks after straight away.
Did you?
I was just
wow.
like, I think
right
it was
back in there.
Yeah. But I think it's because I had the kids.
Yeah.
And I was staying at Nicholas, so I had childcare.
Yeah.
I didn't have to think about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would just take my mind off everything. It wasn't like any special date. It was just, I think it was just me making friends.
Yeah.
Like I do at mothers' meetings. It's like a way of just talking to somebody on a neutral platform. It's a bit like therapy in a way.
How did you go about dating? Did you use dating apps or did you just like...
I think the first date was with somebody that I kind of knew. And then, did I go on any other date? I think I went on one date off Tinder. And we went on like 3 dates together. And then I was kind of like, what am I doing? Like, this is all a bit too soon. I need my time.
Yeah.
So I was like, right, that's it. I'm going to just focus on me now. And it was weird because I never thought about me meeting a guy and anything developing and then introducing them to the children. Like, that was never a thing. Because I think I wasn't thinking of something serious. I was just thinking of, like, making friends.
Yeah.
As I do.
Yeah.
And so it got to a point where I'd been on, like, 3 dates. And I was like, no, I can't do this now. It's too emotional. Like, you know, you get attached. I was at that, I think, because I was so open.
Yeah.
I was getting attached to people a bit too quick.
Yeah.
And then you just get upset if, you know, they don't text back.
Yeah.
Or you get all
totally.
that whole thing. And you become really self-aware of how you look. And it's like, it's not a very nice place to be if you're sort of out there wanting someone to just love you.
Exactly, yeah. If you're in any way, feeling in any way vulnerable.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah.
So I was like, right, that's it. No more dates, no more men. I'm just going to be me. I'm going to book a trip to Portugal. I'm going to, instead of spending a weekend that I'm not with the kids on Tinder, going on a date, you know, or any of the other apps, I'm going to go away for a weekend by myself.
Yeah.
Learn how to surf, me, and just feel strong within myself, not to feel like I needed a guy to compliment me to feel complete.
Love that, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, do you know what? I'm a firm believer of, like, the universe bringing things to you when the time is right.
Yeah.
And it was my birthday, and I had a party at Shoreditch House and I took the date that I'd been dating a few times with me. Then I bumped into someone that I hadn't seen for like 10 years or something. And we used to see each other around about Soho when I was like young. And I hadn't seen the two of them for ages. And one of them was working at Shoreditch House as a chef.
Yeah.
I was so shocked to see them when someone hasn't come into your thoughts for such a long time, you forget they exist. And anyway, I had a mothers' meeting there a couple of weeks later, and I bumped into him, and he was a chef. And I was like so shocked to see him as a chef because he was always DJing around the West End and doing all those like wrong-un things. Not wrong-un, but, you know, a bit of a face kind of thing. And then he's head chef at Shoreditch House, and we just chatted, and a few months went by, and he texted me saying, "Oh, can I take you when we're going for a drink?" And then we went for a drink, and that was it.
Really?
Literally, that was it.
Did you just know?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, even after the text, we were just texting, like, not even flirting, just joking kind of thing. And even then, I had this weird feeling of calmness.
That was so nice.
And we went on our first date, and we literally were inseparable.
Wow.
Because he was just going through a divorce.
Okay.
And so he just moved out. He'd been with someone for 10 years. So our paths had been kind of quite parallel.
Yeah.
And he's literally the most amazing dad. He sees my children as sort of his children, but not in a way that he demands for them to call him dad.
Yeah.
And he's just insane, amazing.
That is so cool.
And we can't believe it ourselves, but in June is our 3-year anniversary.
3 years, wow.
of meeting. Like
No
we
way.
call our
And Sky is a year and a half, and then wow. So I'm just doing the maths here.
Yeah.
So how soon?
Well, like, how the hell has that happened?
Yeah.
It should be like at least 13,
Yeah.
not 3.
Yeah.
Because in such a short amount of time, like he moved in with us. Went on loads of holidays to begin with before we had Sky, because we used to have weekends and we could be single for a little bit.
Yeah.
I could pretend I wasn't a mum. And then we moved house. We've moved to Broadstairs. We've bought a house and we've had a baby. And before that, I had a miscarriage. So it's kind of like we've gone through so many different things in such a short amount of time.
Mm.
And a lot of my friends say to me, "Oh, Jenny, you give me so much hope because, I'm getting older, but you've done it in such a tight space that it makes me realise that I can do it without, I don't have to wait 10 years for it all to kind of happen."
Exactly. And that, I think it's so nice for Frolo's listening to hear as well, that there is like life and love after kind of a relationship breakdown and, kids. Because sometimes it's just... It's hard to see that, but it's so nice to hear a story like yours. And you and Joe look so in love, just on your Instagram.
It's just like the happiest time when we're all together.
It's so lovely.
And it makes me so happy. And it just makes me realise as well that, it was hard when I broke up with Sunny and Jasmine's dad. But at the same time, it all worked out. Like, he's got a baby now.
Yeah.
And he's married and he's happy with his life.
Yeah.
I think. I don't really speak to him much, but I hand the kids over to him every other weekend.
Yeah.
And it's really nice because I know their life with his dad and his wife is really different to our lives.
Yeah.
And so instead of seeing it as kind of, he doesn't do it my way and that kind of thing, I just think it's really nice for the kids to be really adaptable and well-rounded. Like, we're living by the sea now, and his dad and his wife live in Peckham. So they have like the city, they've got the sea life, and that they go stay with their grandparents in the suburbs. So I just think they're really lucky to have the sort of view on all different sides.
They look like, I've never met your kids, but from what I can tell, they're happy little things. Like, they come across as like really happy, like lovely
kids. I hope so.
Would you say? Do you think they do okay with the co-parenting thing? And are they finding it okay?
I think Sonny finds it a bit hard sometimes because his dad supports Liverpool and Joe supports Tottenham.
Okay.
But and they're both playing each other in the Champions League final.
Okay.
Not that I like football, but I'm surrounded by it. That was a little bit awkward at first. I think Sonny sort of was like, didn't want to step on anyone's toes. Like, when he's with Joe, he's a Tottenham fan. But when he's with his dad, he's a Liverpool fan.
Yeah.
But I think what really helps is when I drop Sonny and Jazz off to their dad, Sonny and Jazz see me talking to their dad, and we kind of talk about what the kids have been up to, and we laugh, and it's kind of nice for them to see that.
Yeah.
I would hope for them to see more of that. Like, it would be nice if we could go away not even go away, but like have a drink with everyone together.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important, because a big part that I haven't really spoke about is when they used to go to stay at their dad's, they'd come back and I'd feel like riddled with insecurity. Like, am I a good enough mum?
Yeah.
They've gone there. Did they have a better time when they were there?
Yeah.
And if they said they had a nice time, it would like kill me inside.
Yeah.
And then I'd be projecting all my insecurities on them. In a way, I'd be like, "Oh, did you have a nice time? Oh, really? Why did you have a nice time?" And I'd be questioning it to them, and they're little people, aren't they? And I shouldn't be doing that. I should be just like, "Oh, wow, that's amazing."
Yeah.
And I am like that. And I didn't say that they should be having a bad time or anything, but it would just eat me up inside listening to them talk positively about it a bit.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think a lot of I think it's probably normal to wonder, oh my God, are they having a better time, or what do they do, or did they have more fun?
Yeah.
Or sometimes if I have like Billy for the weekend, but there's no other little kids to play with because it's just him. So if it's just us or with other adult friends of mine, I'm kind of like, oh no, did he have a crap weekend? Because there was like, he didn't have any little mates, and I'm like, oh, he was probably with his cousins when he was with his dad, having time with and just you kind of question things.
But he's been with his mum, so that means so much to kids.
Yeah, exactly. And Exactly. Yeah. No, and I think you're right. I think it is like it is nice to just be able to go, oh look, it's great that they were happy there, and that's all you want, isn't it? All you want is to know your kids are happy.
I think it's so many things, like, talking about Instagram and stuff. Like you'll be with the kids, then you'll have a quick flick on Instagram, and you'll see that people are at galleries on doing this and doing that, and then you're like, oh my god, but I've just stayed at home, and it's all this stuff all this pressure that we're putting on ourselves.
Instagram is not real life.
No,
there's
it's not.
Just
it's just
no way.
Curated, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if people put up, the real, them lying there like on the couch, kind of, or like waking up first thing in the morning or whatever, people, it is totally curated.
So curated.
Yeah, so important to like remind ourselves of that, isn't it?
Yeah, but going back to say about the children being insecure, feeling insecure myself about them having a good time.
Yeah,
I had to Google it because it was like, they'd come back from their dads and I'd be like, come here, give me a cuddle. Do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? And he was like, Joe would be like, Jenny, what are you doing? Like, calm down. Just let them they're just happy to be home. Like, just let them get on with whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
And I had to Google it. Why do I feel like this? And it is like, you're just projecting your insecurities onto them.
Yeah.
And then I listened to... a friend, and a lot of the people that I had children, my friends who had children at the same time as Sunny, like 8 years ago, that a lot of them are all single now.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to see how they co-parent.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine, Sharma Dean, who's got wild nails, she said once that anything like you say about the other parent to the child that's negative, the only person that gets hurt is the child.
Yeah.
And that is so true. And the last thing that you want to do is be hurting the little thing that you love more than anything in the world.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that really stuck with me. Like, if you say anything that's slightly negative about the other person, then it's going to affect the child. Like, I remember my parents, and if my dad was an absolute nightmare, but he was still my dad.
Yeah.
And I know now, like, everything that he did and all the things my mum went through, and I appreciate my mum so much more now that I've got children.
Yeah.
But even when I was little, if my mum said stuff about my dad, it would just hurt me.
I know. Yeah.
And I think that's really important to remember.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's so true, like, because obviously when you're not in doing the co-parenting relationship, there's a kind of high chance that you probably aren't going to think the absolute world of your ex for whatever reason, if it's because of a relationship breakdown. And hopefully in time these things repair and heal so that you can all sit in a room together, have a drink, be at a birthday party, all of that stuff. But yeah, I think it's so crucial to remember, just if you're, to keep it totally outside of your kid's earshot, or even so that your kid just isn't privy to it, because it's so damaging and hurtful, and it's talk to your friends about it, vent it to someone else.
Because it's so easy to sneakily have a little snidey comment, but it's not worth it.
Yeah, and they pick up on it, don't they?
They pick up on everything. They're clever little buggers.
Yeah. And how was it introducing Joe to the kids? Was that sort of... Did you have any worry about that?
It gets even more weird because Joe came... I was living at Lee's mum's house.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And Joe had to come there to meet the kids.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, do you want to come over and meet the kids at my ex's mum's house? So Joe really proved his love for me.
Aww.
Just by doing that. And I remember him turning up, and the kids were just in the garden. And Jazzy was so little, she was a baby, really.
Yeah.
So she didn't really know anything. And Sonny was 4.
What did you introduce him to Sonny as? Like a friend? Or
he's just my friend. Yeah. And then they just loved him so much that they just wanted him to be there.
Yeah.
And come over.
Yeah.
And I think, like, people used to say this before. You always hear people say it, but about boys having a man figure.
Yeah.
And I never really understood that until me and Sonny's dad broke up. Like, seeing Sonny with a guy compared to when he spends all the time with me.
Yeah.
He's like a different person.
Really?
Yeah. And I know that's, hard to hear, but they just talk differently. They have different jokes.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a girl with a mum rather than a girl. I know it's the whole gender thing, but it is so different. It's like they have football jokes, and I don't know. It's just seeing those Sunny and Joe together is so different to when Sunny's with me, because I'm like, oh, mum, like a bit embarrassing.
Yeah.
Where with Joe is like boys kind of.
And has Joe and your ex met each other?
Yeah, they've met. Because I always do birthday parties for Sunny and Jazz.
Yeah.
Like we always do something where all the family are invited and school friends.
Yeah.
And they've always been at those together.
Okay, well, that's good. That's
great.
great.
That's really good. And Joe and Lee text each other about football.
No way.
So Sunny will go to a Tottenham match with Joe.
Okay.
And Joe will send Lee pictures.
Oh, that's great.
So that makes me so happy.
That's so great. Okay, well, you are a great example of, things kind of life after relationship
I think it's all
breakdown.
about patience.
Yeah.
I think it is all about patience, and I think the right person will come at the right time.
Yeah.
And it's the worst thing to say, but it will happen when you least expect it.
Yeah.
My sister used to say to me, Jenny, you're so desperate. Like, I mean, sisters can say anything.
Yeah.
She goes, men pick up like desperate vibes, like so easily. And she said, you stink of them right now. And that's when I was like, yeah, I really need to stop this, because I'm not that desperate at all.
Yeah.
I'm just coming across like I really need to be loved, when actually I just need to give myself some love.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the thing is patience and giving yourself time to heal.
Yeah. And
feel whole.
Yeah.
Don't look for a man or a woman to come into your life to make you feel like 100%. Like, they make them feel that they make you a better person, but not a person.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's so important to know. And I think that's kind of what that's what you're forced to kind of realise, I think, when you become a single parent, because you just have to pick up the pieces, get on, make your, home kind of function and keep things afloat. And yeah, I think by default, you do realise, actually, I can carry this ship by myself. I don't need someone else to like do it for me or do it with me. But then it's just an absolute lovely bonus if someone happens to.
That's how you need to see it.
Yeah.
I've been with the kids now Joe's been working because he's a chef.
Yeah.
And I've been with the kids for like nearly a week all on my own, because he's been working mad hours.
Yeah.
And he came home last night and he's like, oh yeah, you don't really need me, do you? I was like, actually, no, I don't, but I want you.
Yeah.
So I think that's the kind of state of mind, isn't it? It's like you don't need somebody to be there. It's like you're there because you want them rather than needing someone.
Yeah.
Independent women and all
Independent women and all that. Jenny, thank you so much for coming and talking to me, and and for your support, because like I said, I know you're busy, and I have to say, like, creating Frolo and the Frolo community, if I can do like a small percentage of as good a job as you've done with Mothers Meeting and helping people through that, the community, I'll be so happy. Yeah.
Oh, you're so lovely. You're going to do well.
Oh,
you just can't
you.
go finding a man now, can you?
I can't go finding a man.
No.
Well, I mean, if there's I won't say no if there's any like.
You can.
No, but thank you. Thanks so much.
It's so nice to have this Frolo life going on.
Yeah, it is. Well, I have to say, it's helped me so much personally. So, and I can see, it's just weird that it hasn't existed before weird. Now. Yeah.
And do you do meetups?
Yes, we did a Mother's Day meetup, and so part of the app will have a meetup functionality, so you can create any meetup or event or holiday or anything like that. So it would just be so much easier to find out what's happening near you, around you, or create something if you want to create.
Holiday thing's such a good idea as well.
Exactly, because that's just such a nightmare, going, oh, great, like, what am I going to do for summer holiday? Go away by myself. The kids will be in bed at like 7 and I'll be drinking rosé in a dark room, so.
Such a good idea.
Yeah. So it's launching in September. So hopefully it will make a big difference from then, and there'll be more kind of Frolo proper Frolo events happening around the place.
And I think it's about sort of banishing the stigma of being single,
Totally.
a single parent. It's
Yeah.
kind of like people frown upon it in a way.
Exactly, and it's 1 in 4. 1 in 4 people are from a single parent
Yeah,
family.
it's weird. It's like you said,
so
it's
common.
So strange that somebody hasn't done it before, which is obviously amazing because you are.
Yeah, so it's time. It's definitely time. But maybe we can do a Mother's Meeting Frolo event or some kind of collaboration
definitely.
or something in the future.
Of
Because
course.
there are so many.
There's loads.
Yeah, so many single parents. Single moms. Okay, thank you so much,
Thank
Jenny.
you so
and
much.
looking forward to the next Mother's Meeting. And if anyone listening has not been to a Mother's Meeting, you should definitely come to one
Yes, you
because
should.
they're brilliant. Okay, thank you again, and thank you for listening, and see you next time. Bye.